Chapter 23. A Time for Survival, a Time of Waiting. The year 1976 dragged on like a long afternoons after the rainy season, when the air is heavy and still and you wait for the storm, but it never quite comes. By then, the city had adjusted to its new rhythm, though it was not a rhythm chosen freely, it was imposed. Every family I knew lived in a quiet heaviness, some more visible than others, but all the same. For our family, survival was not about fighting or resisting. It was about learning to bend, to adjust, to remain silent, to keep our heads down while carrying the secret pain inside. Yet, within those muted days, each of us lived a separate story, paths that sometimes crossed, sometimes ran parallel, but were always bound together by love and the longing of normal life. Chị Thanh Tâm's journey. Of all of us, chị Thanh Tâm carried perhaps the heaviest burden. Her husband, Anh Thông, was imprisoned in the dense, watery wilderness of U Minh. That place had long been a name whispered with dread. Mosquitoes as large as dragonflies, snakes coiling in the mangrove roots, damp air that clung to the lungs. To send a man there was not just to imprison him, but to strip him of comfort, to reduce him to the rawest fight for survival. To reach him, chị Thanh Tâm had to travel from Saigon down to Rạch Giá, then further inland toward the shadow swamps. It was a journey of many hours, crowded buses, checkpoints, and suspicious eyes. She could not go empty-handed. Each trip demanded gifts, small bribes, food parcels, and whatever she could gather to offer the guards in order to catch a glimpse of her husband. When she stayed in Rạch Giá, she lived simply, often in the homes of distant friends or sympathetic strangers who share a mat and a bowl of rice. The stories she sometimes shared with us upon returning were always carefully chosen. Her words measured, but I remember the look in her eyes, the fatigue, the way she tried to mask her despair under a thin layer of determination. She would describe the prison camp vaguely, men with sunken cheeks, their clothes in tatters, their skin burnt by sun and swollen from insect bites. She never said directly how much it broke her heart to see her husband among them, but I could feel it. Her visits were not just about love, but about strategy. She worked tirelessly, whispering to this official, offering something to that guard, arranging and negotiating, always in a hope of one day securing his release. It was the kind of bravery that did not shout, did not carry weapons, but required more endurance than I could imagine. My interrupted education. While chị Thanh Tâm traveled south, I was completing my final chapter of my own schooling. The year was difficult, but I pushed myself through it. When the results came, I had passed every exam and earned the bằng tú tài 2. For one fleeting moment, pride surged in me, almost tasting like freedom. But reality returned quickly, like a slap of a cold water. children of the so-called Ngụy families were barred from entering university. My achievement meant nothing to the authorities. A wall rose up before me, and beyond it, the future I had imagined, a chance to study literature, to teach, to write openly, vanished. I tried not to show my disappointment. After all, my parents were already carrying so much. Why should I add my broken dreams to their burden? But at night, lying awake, I asked myself questions that had no answers. Why was I being punished for who my father was? Why must knowledge and talent be changed by politics? The government had already prepared a different destiny for me. I was the next in line for kinh tế mới, the new economic zones where city families were forced to resettle in remote rural areas, clearing land, farming, often starving. I dreaded it. Each time I heard of someone being sent away, my heart clenched. Yet I told myself, if it comes, I will go, I will endure. That was a silent promise I made to myself. Hoa vải Thanh Vân Company. Amid this bleakness, my sister Thanh Vân shone like a small lamp. With courage and skill, she opened a business, Hoa vải Thanh Vân, a silk flower company. From the outside, it may have seemed ordinary, but in those days, to open a company, to dare to engage in the word import-export was almost audacious. It meant not giving in entirely to the suffocating air of the city, but creating beauty where beauty was being stripped away. The silk flowers were exquisite. We cut and shaped fabric into petals, dyed them carefully, and assembled them into bouquets that looked almost alive. Orchids, roses, lilies, each flower carried a touch of human hands, a quiet rebellion against decay. Her display booth at Thương Sa Tak was magnificent. I remember standing there one afternoon, staring at the bold sign Hoa vải Thanh Vân Import-Export. The letters gleamed proudly above a sea of colorful silk blossoms. It was more than a booth, it was the declaration of survival, a reminder that beauty still belonged to us. Around 12 people worked in the company. Among them were my sister Thanh Hoa and Thanh Loan, myself, and a younger sister Thanh Tươi. Each day we gathered to work, our fingers folding, stitching, arranging. The work was repetitive but strangely comforting. Every petal completed was like one small victory against despair. And importantly, the company gave us legitimacy. On paper, we were employees. We could show the authority that we had jobs, that we contributed, and we were useful. It was our shield. Without it, suspicion would have fallen on us. A lacquer company where Anh Hưng worked. Next door, Anh Hưng worked at the lacquer company. His job was laborious. The air heavy with the smell of chemicals. His hands often stained with dark resin. Yet whenever we met outside during breaks, he carried a faint smile as to reassure us that not all was lost. The closeness of the two workplaces felt like a small blessing in the middle of the city where trust was scarce and neighbors often watched each other with suspicions. It mattered that family was near. the return of Anh Liêm. Then one day news arrived. Anh Liêm had come back to Saigon. Relief filled us first. He was alive, but he did not return to live under our roof. Out of love, he chose to stay away, hiding with friends. He did not want to burden our parents with worry, did not want the authorities to notice our house. His joy spoke volumes. Sometimes love is not about closeness but about distance, about protecting each other by staying apart. We miss him, but we respect his decision. His quiet return became another thread in the fabric of our survival. The sugar machine in the courtyard of our house, another small miracle took place. My father bought a machine to make sugar from sugarcane. At first we thought it was a strange idea, but soon the machine became a kind of entertainment, even joy. Were placed outside in front of the house, a sign that we were working, producing. The process fascinated us. Long stalks of sugarcane were fed into the rollers, crushed until the sweet juice poured out. Then came the magic. The juice was spun at high speed inside the drum, and tiny white crystals of sugar began to form, flying outward like snowflakes in the summer. The first time it happened, we all clapped and laughed, children again for a few moments. The sugar smelled fresh, warm, grassy. We tasted, and it was sweeter than anything we had eaten in months, not because of the flavor alone, but because of what it symbolized. It meant we could create something. We could transform raw cane into sweetness. Life could still surprise us with joy. Life under silence. Yet, despite these small victories, silence remained our constant companion. We spoke little of politics. We lowered our voices when strangers passed. We shared news only in whispers. Life was pared out to its essence. Eat, work, sleep, survive. Each day was measured, each gesture calculated. To survive, we had to hang on to whatever was left, and above all, remain silent. But silence does not mean emptiness. Within each of us lived a world of memories, longings, and quiet prayers. For chị Thanh Tâm, pray for her husband's release. Chị Thanh Vân, pray for her company to continue. My father prayed that his children would remain safe. I pray that one day somehow I could still live a life of meaning, and so we endure. Reflection. Looking back, I realized those days were like living on the edge of a knife. At any moment, everything could have collapsed, yet somehow we managed to keep our balance. We were not free, but we were alive. We were not allowed to dream loudly, but we dreamed silently. Life was reduced to survival, but within that survival was a quiet, unshakable dignity. This is the end of chapter 23. To be continued.
Tell me all about this name, and it's difficult to say. It was given